I do want to say that yesterday was International Women's Day, and I saw some awesome posts of lots of women in the crowd and other women and men in the crowd and men in our country that were making some positive posts. So I would be remiss if I did not mention happy belated International Women's Day to all the women in the crowd. So
exactly. I was actually going to say that because March 8th is the anniversary of the passing of my grandmother. She left us 3 years ago, and she's been my hugest inspiration as I was growing up, because she was a woman way before her time. Going back over 70 years ago, she was working full time, raising a family, married a younger man, 6 years younger than her, and very much criticized for it. So she definitely played a big role in showing that you can be a woman that works and has a career that you love, as well as you can have a family and be a very, very good mother as well. I think I'm a good mom, at least my kids tell me so. So I think you can do it all and have that balance. So yeah, thanks for mentioning that.
Oh, and you know what? We need a lot. It's great. We've had a lot of women that have paved the way to allow us to do those things. So.
Absolutely.
Now, here you are one of those women that if anyone's young and starting in this industry, or just not even in this industry, but just there's some story to take away from here. But you've had a phenomenal 2016. You were recognized. This is big. You were recognized shaping the future of real estate in Canada. You were Canada's top 100 elite women in real estate. That's huge. That was in Vancouver in October. And then you received the Century 21 Canada Brand Leadership Award as well. Did I not see your picture like 2 weeks ago? You also got some other award.
Yeah, and Lisa Mueller with Century 21 Fusion is here tonight, and she was at that awards gala. And it was re-honoring me, because in Vancouver, it was a national conference, and they had come up with this award that they had given that night. And then in Saskatchewan, when they were doing the awards tour, so everyone from Saskatchewan was there, they just kind of like redid it. So it wasn't another award, it was the same.
Oh, it's all right though. Just carry it on for a while.
Yeah,
just walk around with it for a few.
Didn't they already give you that? But yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your climb into, like I said, you filled a lot of shoes, and you started in 1993. So tell us a little bit about that climb into this real estate world. Yeah,
I never really thought of it as a climb. When I entered the real estate world, I had no interest in being in real estate. I was someone who had an accounting background, and through my uncle, who was part owner living in Regina, he told me they had a job opening here in Saskatoon at the Century 21 Dome office. Their accountant was getting ready to retire and doing everything manually at that time, the great big ledgers for anyone who can go back in time. And so he said, you should apply if you're interested. And I was a brand new mother. We were newly married, had this little baby, and I did need to work. So I went and applied for the job. Did not tell this manager that I was related to one of the owners. I wanted to get hired because of who I was, because of who I was, I guess, as a person, not who I knew. And so he ended up hiring me. Found out 2 weeks later that I was related to one of the owners and wanted to fire me. And then he said, and you have like a 6-week-old baby, how do you think you're going to be able to work here full time and be a mother? And I said, can you just give me a chance? I really need this job. I actually kind of like it now that I've been here for 2 weeks, and I really just want to work here. So he actually ended up being one of my biggest cheerleaders in the end. I did win him over eventually and realized that I could do the job. But once I got into the office, I realized how much I actually loved working in the environment. Real estate is super unique. It is an industry where everyone there is building a business underneath your business. So they want to be there for the most part. There are salespeople who, they have bad days, of course, and they have challenges, lots of them. The ones that do well work incredibly hard, but I loved being there. So I continually wanted to learn more and more about the business. So I just moved through different roles throughout the company, got my license, got my brokers, did all that kind of stuff, and just really loved the office, and I had a passion for the professionalism of the industry, I think.
Mm-hmm. So it seems like there is, 'cause I've always thought of being a real estate agent, but there seems like there is a lot of agents that are out there. There's a lot of companies. I'm trying to understand. You get these these agents that then create a company. So, I mean, you've obviously found your mark. You said you've kind of, not the climb, but you tried a lot of different things, and you've found your place with property management and still working with Century 21. So tell us a little bit about that choice and what are the benefits?
It was just, there's so much synergy between property management and real estate. So when the opportunity arose that I had the opportunity to buy the franchise for Saskatchewan, I guess I take on too many challenges. I just kind of I want to do that too. So I did. And my partners in Regina at the time were unsure of it. They didn't know if they really wanted to do that. So I said, it's okay, I can do it on my own. So I decided to do that. And I did want to eventually transition out of as much of the role as I had in Regina, because I didn't want to be traveling as much as I was.
So you were in Regina?
Yeah, well, I've always lived here, but I was doing a lot of traveling back and forth because very involved in the operational side of Century 21 Dome in Regina. So the goal was that once I got this up and running really strong, that I could kind of let go of that a little bit and pull back. And we have hired somebody else in Regina to take over some of the roles that I had there. So it allows me to focus now on the property management here in Saskatoon.
So what property management? Tell me a little bit about what that is.
We manage residential, single-family homes and condos and townhouses for small to medium-sized investors. So somebody who wants to get into buying some revenue properties, they don't know exactly where they want to invest their money, but they don't want to manage them. They don't want to find the tenants. They don't want to screen the tenants. They don't want to show the property. They don't want to deal with the maintenance. They don't want to deal with all of those hassles. I'll deal with all of the hassles.
Shoveling the snow.
Yeah, that's us.
Oh, okay. And I also did not know this, but maybe correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm never wrong. No, I am. My husband doesn't. But did it not go? Did it not go through a bank at one time? Were you not? Wasn't it? Didn't the banks buy it out?
Yeah, we were. There was 4 different Century 21 offices in the province. There was 3. And then they all became one. Century 21 Dome ended up owning the offices in Prince Albert, Moose Jaw, Regina, and Saskatoon. Connexus Credit Union in 2005 approached us and wanted to buy the Century 21 offices. I was a shareholder of Dome at the time, and we all thought it was a great idea that this organization wanted to buy the Century 21 offices, and we thought it was a great exit strategy for some of my partners who were older in age, who were thinking that they would want to get out of this game eventually. So they bought us. They bought us strictly because we had systems, and they made that really clear that they wanted a company that the values matched the Connexus Credit Union values at that time, and the CEO at the time was very focused on providing a one-stop shop. He wanted the client to be able to come in, do their banking, they could buy a house, they could get insurance, and just be very, very full service, and that matched what we were doing. So they bought us. I brokered for the province for all of those companies around the province and worked with some of their strategic sides, I guess. And then in 2011, 2 CEOs later with Connexus Credit Union, that particular CEO did not want to be in the real estate game at all. He came to us and said, we are not interested in having the Century 21 arm anymore. So we said, no problem. We will help you sell it. So my soon-to-be partner in Regina and I found ownership groups in the 4 different locations, and I invested in the Regina location at that time.
Mm-hmm. So that's where you started being an owner.
Right.
Now, as a female and working in this industry, I mean, have you experienced any obstacles, whether it be with your fellow colleagues or even clients, and how did you overcome them?
Women versus male? Is that,
it doesn't matter. I mean,
I suppose a bit, but I was pretty fortunate that my business partners are male, and I guess they treated me like a male. I don't know. That part was okay. I had some challenges as time went on with them because they did allow me to do a lot of the work as a woman, I guess. I haven't had a lot of challenges in the actual industry itself. Someone laughing at that? That's true, right? That's true. I really had to work with them on that. That it's no, you can do that. I don't have to do all of that. But and I was really fortunate. I don't know if anyone here in the room was back at the Women Entrepreneurs Conference when Chris Flett was the speaker. And Chris wrote a book called, Daria, you might have to help me, What Men Don't Tell Women About Business, right? and fell in love with the whole concept. I was working with men at that time, so I was like, I think I like this, and started working with Chris a little bit, and found out that there are little things that women can do in business to complement whatever they're doing with their male counterparts. Men and women think differently. I mean, it's a common fact. It's not good or bad in any way, but it's just a reality. So, different clues that you can get. So anyone who's challenged in that area, get the book, or I can borrow it to you. So there's lots of things like, one thing is, did you know that men need deadlines? You can't just say to them that you want them to do something. You have to say, I want you to do it by Friday at 5. And then it'll get done. Like, there's little things that their minds just work different, I guess, and it's no discredit to males or females, but I do have to say I was pretty fortunate. The real estate industry is pretty even keel as far as men and women. I learned from Lisa yesterday that her office in particular is 52% women and 48% men. So the industry itself has a lot of great leaders in the women's side.
I'm going to use the deadline thing on my husband.
Yeah, give it a try.
Yeah.
I use it all the time with friends. Yeah.
I'm going to see if it works. I'll let you know. What about newcomers that are coming into this industry? Like what you knew when you entered it and what you know now, and there's someone new coming in. Like, what's a piece of advice you could give a newcomer right now?
Yeah, real estate is not a super easy industry. If you want to do well, you have to be prepared to treat it like a job and work very hard. If you're going to come into the industry, interview as many companies as you used to. When I did recruiting, I would say go and talk to as many companies as you want to. You need to feel really comfortable with whatever company you're going to join, but make sure they're giving you things like support and training, and they have a team atmosphere, because as a brand new salesperson, if you don't have a team behind you to kind of feel that confidence, I've got all these people working with me, you're going to be in trouble. And talk to Lisa. She's holding an open house on March 25th at her office. If you're interested in a career in real estate, she'd be happy to help you out. But that is a strength of the Century 21 system. It's a very, very strong network. Anyone entering the industry, there's a lot of great companies out there, but I know Century 21, my blood's a little bit gold in that regard, and they offer a great support system.
You bleed gold.
I do.
You have accomplished so much in this profession, and you've seen it go through the ups and downs of the economic cycle, and this industry has definitely changed. And I heard some statistics, funny enough. I had to drive my daughter at 5:30 in the morning to swimming, and they said something about how the new builds in Canada are down, but surprisingly Saskatchewan is up. But then I saw a statistic with the Sarita article today that said that it's down year over year. So with that being said, the housing market moving forward, what are some of the things that we're going to see in regards to innovation, whether it's in sales or the service side of things or any value benefits to the buyer? What do you see happening around the corner?
I think companies are going to have to really look at their service levels that they provide, and they're going to have to offer support to agents. The agent just can't come in, 2007 to 2009, you could just set them at a desk and give them a phone and off they go, because we were so busy in the province. Now they have to work for that business. They have to understand how they have to service their clients properly and make sure that they are doing all of the follow-up, and they're making sure that their client is they're doing everything for their client to make it the best experience possible. Lisa and I were both at the Disney function today. Mm-hmm. We didn't know we were going, which I found so interesting, because we both know that's such a key component for agents and for offices to be successful in the future, is making sure that you do have those standards of service in place. And transparency. When I first got into the industry, everyone will go back, if anyone wants to go back to the early 1990s, you couldn't find a house for sale on the internet. That didn't exist. You had to go to your realtor. You had to get the information from them. You were lucky if they gave you the catalog just to look at overnight, but I'm not really supposed to do that. And now, our industry has changed so much, and it was a big fight in our industry going back to the late 90s, where do we give this information to the public? And I was a proponent of, we give it to them. It's what they want. If we want to be professionals, then we have to show them why they still need us. Just because they can see everything for sale doesn't mean that they don't still need a professional to help them through the process. So it really has changed a lot, but transparency and customer service are going to win, I think.
Good photography. That's my biggest pet peeve when I go on these sites and I see this kitchen and I'm like, wow. Oh, and then you go and you're like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. Or
That is like,
they take a picture of the bathroom and the seat's up.
Yeah,
And it's like,
yeah.
come on, you couldn't have put that down before you snap the picture. Like, it's all those little things that make
Yeah.
a huge difference.
so, Carla, you mentioned earlier, and we were talking about inspirational women. You mentioned your mother. And so you might have a number of inspiring people that helped you through business or through life. Talk about some of the people that have been inspirational to you, whether it's business or personal.
Yeah, people ask me that every once in a while, and I have met so many people throughout in the city of Saskatoon, the city of Regina, within the Century 21 network that have been incredibly inspirational over the years. I'm very much inspired by my family. I'm inspired by my mom. My husband inspires me every single day. He's the most caring person that would give his left arm and his right arm, everything to help anybody that needs him. And my kids, as you watch your kids grow up and you realize, different things, like when you watch your daughter become a mother, and that's so inspirational to see all of that happen. Yeah. So can't pinpoint it. I think I'm inspired every day by people.
Yeah. Well, I know your family, and they're a lovely family, and they have a good leader as well. So with that being said, I do have, this is my favorite part. So when I get through my favorite part, I know I'm running over time here. This is my favorite part because it's so fun and quirky, and I get to find out some really fun stuff. We're going to do the 7 revelations with Carla, which are 7 questions that are just out there for some of you new people. I see some new faces. Thank you for coming. And I see some beautiful seasoned faces that are in the crowd, so you know what I'm talking about. Then after that, I'm going to open it up to questions, and I'm going to get Sarah to come in and do this because I have to leave to meet Eric.
She thought Eric was more important than me.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I got to go see Eric later. So I'm going to do these because I love this. So the 7 revelations of Carla. I know you're a traveler. Tell me your favorite place to vacation.
Nuevo Mexico.
So you've been going there for a few years. This is your getaway. Did you go there this Christmas with your whole family?
Yes.
It was so cute because they had like the Saskatoon t-shirts that, what's that place that does the hard press.
Yeah.
So it was so cute of them in the airport wearing their Saskatoon shirts to go to Mexico. So a good place for you to go. Rest.
Yeah, my uncle lives there a good majority of the year, so we stay on resorts, but we always have a good chance to be with family too. So yeah, it's our favorite place.
Awesome. Now, tell me your best home selling tip.
2.
All right. We get 2 bonus.
2.
For free.
Use a professional. List to sell.
Okay. Oh, list to sell. Okay.
Did you want to add anything to that, Lisa?
Yeah. Do you find a lot of like people who are selling, they just have these like they think they're going to make so much money off of this? Like, are they not realistic, or do you have to kind of coach them?
I think there's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
There's people think you can pick a price based on what they've seen down the street and things like that, but it's there's more to it. So a professional will show them where they need to be in order to be in the market properly.
Why do people think they can sell their house on their own then? Like when you say hire a professional, like what like I know like you have to have a lot of time. Like why would you try to do? I don't know. I'm like
Well, some people have had a bad experience.
Okay.
So if you've had a bad experience with a realtor, you may think that it's pretty easy and you can do it on your own. They see a for sale sign go up in the neighborhood and they see a sold sign the next week. So well, that must be easy. I'll just put a for sale sign in my yard.
Yeah.
So unless, I think for the most part, people do understand there's value with a realtor. I actually see less and less for sale by owners in the market than I have over past years. And
I agree.
That's because the market is a little bit tougher. So having your house listed by a professional and advertising it to the 600 realtors in the city has a great value.
Yeah. Okay, so now it's about who's out there buying right now. So tell me some of your best home buying tips.
Use a professional. And
so is it okay to use the same like if someone's selling and say it's your realtor, like if it's like use the same one, can you do that kind of thing? That's all right. There's no okay.
Usually that you do.
They do
Usually
that,
you list your house and that same realtor will find you. Yeah.
Find you one.
You have one friend that you want to use.
Does that. Okay.
One professional. And I think the second tip would be if you've looked at the house and you love the house, put an offer on it because it's kind of like if you like it, put a ring on it, right? Because you see a lot of times where people then miss out. Our market, it has a lot of highs and lows, but even in this market that we're in right now, you still see multiple offers. So you go look at a place and you really love it, don't say, well, I'll wait and see if it's still there in 2 months, because it won't be.
I saw a house that I liked. See, now I'm getting like I like to get people up here that I need stuff done. So I have a house, and I like this other house, but it takes a while for me to sell my house to be able to get that house. Like that's sort of the position sometimes you get in. It's like,
Well,
how
a
do
professional can help you with that, Shawna.
Yeah, I know. I know. And I was dealing with a Century 21 person. So, all right. Work, family. You talked about family being obviously very important. They're your inspiration, but then you are a very career-driven, work person as well. What do you do for balance, or what's your de-stress thing? Like, what do you do to kind of, zen it in?
R&R. Running and red wine, just not at the same time.
Oh yeah, not at the same
Not at
time.
the same
Oh,
time.
that's it.
No,
Okay.
no.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. It's about the be able to let loose, and then to kind of
Kick back
keep
and
in
relax,
shape and
yeah.
kind of thing. What is your? We talked about this earlier today at work. So what's your biggest pet peeve? You can be brutally honest. Don't worry. You're not going to hurt anybody's feelings here.
It may sound kind of petty. Yeah. People who don't return calls and emails, that is my biggest pet peeve. Seems simple, doesn't it? Who said yeah? Yeah. Yeah, Mackenzie, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Why do you think that is? Like, you think that just like we're bombarded with so many emails and
That's part of it, but I always think I send an email off and I'm asking the question, it's kind of like off my plate, I'll deal with it when they respond back to me, and then I realize, hey, it's 3 weeks later, they didn't respond back to me, that's still on my plate then.
Yeah, no, that's not good. 3 weeks later, no. Okay, so name one of your to-do on my bucket list. I gotta,
Well, I do a lot of my running in destinations, right? So if we're going to go away, I always plan to see if there's like a half marathon run that's going to be coordinating when I'm actually there.
You're too healthy for me. That's crazy.
It's
you go on a vacation to run.
Just a balance. So after being with the Disney Institute all day today, I think I need to go and run one of those Disney half marathons. That looks kind of fun. So I don't really have a big bucket list, but I think I might have put that one on today.
That is a great one. I was at Disney World. I think there was a marathon when I was there.
Yeah.
It was crazy. There
they
was
have a
all
couple a
these
year,
people that dress up with uniform or costumes and everything.
I probably wouldn't do that.
Yeah, Mickey Mouse ears.
Yeah.
That would be a fun one, though. What is your hidden talent, Carla? Do you have something that you can, touch your nose with your tongue, or what can you do?
I think, I think it's so hidden that I don't even know what it is.
Oh, come on.
No, like,
Can
I'm
you
serious.
sing?
I'm serious. No, God,
See, I made
no.
people
God,
sing up
no.
here, too.
The only time I sing, I do a lot of traveling between Regina and Saskatoon. I'm in the car all by myself. I sing a lot then. But hopefully no one has ever heard it. The car is driving by. I think I must be super transparent, because I can't think of a hidden talent. Sorry to disappoint you.
That's all right.
If I think of one, I'll let you know.
When you run and drink red wine at the same time, that might be a talent
I'd be
in
willing
itself.
to try it.
Well, we're not done yet. I'm going to go change. I'm going to change out with Sarah. Sarah's done some hosting here before, so she's going to open it up to questions from, and I hope there's some questions out there brewing, and then she's going to give you a little bit more information on some upcoming events that we're going to have with the Chamber, and then she's going to tell you a little bit about when our next Chamber is and who's going to be speaking at that. So with that being said, I'm going to slip out and let the lovely Sarah take my place.
So we're going to open it up now for questions. I actually do have one, so I'm in the position where I can ask you first.
Yeah.
Lucky for me. So you alluded there to the fact that people thought for a little while, or the fear within the industry was that people could do it themselves, right? So there was a little bit of a backroom talk about, do we give them information, do we not give them information? And it just reminded me a little bit of travel agents, right? The internet came along and everyone was like, oh, I don't need a travel agent, like I can do it myself. Who in the audience now is looking for a good travel agent? Because you're like, I have no time to go from site to site to site to site. And I've actually been somebody that back in 2007 tried to sell a house myself because I thought the market's there, it's great. No, it was an absolute nightmare. So I think my question is, like, you know, how long, you obviously realized that straight away, and how long did it really take for others within the industry to kind of get their head around that and not be fearful of this new technology?
Well, there's some that I think are still fearful of the technology, but it probably took us about a year that I can remember conversations with our local associations, really talking to companies and making them realize it's okay to share the data. Like before, first step was getting it on websites, first of all, putting it there. And then companies still wanted to withhold their own data. So Century 21 would only advertise Century 21 listings, Remax would only advertise Remax listings, and so on. And then we came to the point where we made people realize, well, you know what? If we want people to come to our site, we need to show them everything. They don't want to just know our listings. They want to see everything that's out there. But it was a really hard struggle. A lot of defensive guard, I think. And I also wanted to comment on the travel agent part, because the group of companies that owns the Century 21 franchise on a national level, the Charlwood Pacific Group, also own Uniglobe.
Oh, really? So they were like, oh, double whammy.
Yeah, so they really had to do a change of thought process in how they were running both of these companies, because there were so many drastic changes when the internet was so common stream.
But you can't fight it. You either adapt or you die.
You do. You have to, right? And any business, I think, has challenges with change, especially when you have a larger company with a lot of people that you're trying to get to adapt to change. But you do have to, and you have to kind of figure out how that's going to work within your company. But at the same time, who are we worrying about? We're worrying about the client.
If you make it centrally client-focused, you're always going to be successful.
Absolutely. We have to give them what they need to know, and you just have to be able to show your value in a different way.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Okay, so we've got a room full of highly intelligent people here. So I'm sure there's some very, very good questions. Who's first?
Okay, as far as self-development training, I'm not sure what advice I would give, but there's a couple points that come to mind that I think are really important, no matter who you are, if you're trying to get into business, or, and I would say, make sure you have support. Make sure you do look at different forms of training. Don't be scared to take risks. Never lose focus of your ethics and your values. And always remember that the people you work with and the people that you're working for care about them, genuinely care about them. Because I think if you put all of that together, you're going to be happy in whatever you're doing, and you're also going to make that person happy.
It's a long-time success plan.
Yes.
Yeah.
And always be developing, Bert. Like, always look at opportunities where you can become better professionally. I think that's key.
Yeah.
You know, the real estate industry for many years, and still does have that stigma that real estate agents drive fancy cars, go for lunches, golf all summer, and that it's an easy profession to have. Those of you that are in the real estate world, you will all agree that is not true. People who do a lot of success in the real estate world work very, very hard. So when we have an agent, when I was doing recruiting at the time, and a potential agent was sitting across from me, I was very honest on what it would take for them to be successful. And if they weren't prepared to wake up every day and come into the office, not every day, I mean, you do have to have time off, but you have to treat it just as if you had a full-time job, and realize that there's going to be other parts that added on to that. It's not just a regular 40 hours a week, but you got to get up and you got to go to work every day. So it's no different in any kind of business that you operate. I think that's what you have to do. I operated from a home-based business because my office was in Regina at the time, and people were like, oh, so you just like go to work in your jammies every day? I'm like, no, I get up, I shower, I get dressed for work, and I go to my office or go do whatever, because if I didn't have it, if that wasn't how I was feeling, I couldn't do the job properly, and I've always treated it that way. But so that's what we would tell people. You have to work very hard. You have to be prepared to get up and go to work every day.
I think that's right. You kind of, it doesn't matter whether you're working from home or not, you kind of, if you're in your pajamas I think people can tell on your email.
Well, they certainly can on Skype.
No, they can. You just have less.
It's like, Carla, why do you have your video off today? Oh, no reason.
Less professional in your emailing skills.
So in real estate, when you look at it from a company perspective, our clients are agents. And the end user is also our clients. We always had two sets of clients. And I think when I came into the property management world, I had to realize too that my clients are the owners of properties that I'm managing because they're entrusting me to look after that property for them. But my clients are also my tenants. So I kind of applied the same philosophy of how I look after our agents as well as the end user to how I'm going to look after the owners and to the tenants. And again, treating them fairly, lots of communication, those same applications, I guess, applied.
So to go into that industry, because I mean, I've been someone that's owned a property and rented it out, and my experience apparently, compared to a lot of people I know, was fairly nice. I hated it. It was hard and it was stressful, and it was 24/7. If something happened, you have to be there. So you leave this high-pressured, real estate industry, and then you go into property management. Like, what were you thinking?
I don't know. I do have to say, I really thought there was going to be a lot more similarities as far as it would be easier to transition into that industry. But I realized there was a bigger learning curve than what I actually knew. But like any business, I think as long as you start getting some systems in place, you can make that fall together pretty good. And I think that's where we are now. After we've been in it for a couple of years, we have systems and we have processes in place that we know we're going to be able to service people properly and handle the things that I guess people think are hard. I don't think they're that hard. That's just another thing that we add to the list that day.
Yeah, and if it's your business, I mean, then you're doing it all the time.
Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
something that's adding on to the rest of your day. So
Yeah, and I take the emotion out of it, so to speak, right? Because
Yes.
it's when it's your own home, then it's different. For me, it's a business. I'm looking after your home,
Yeah.
so I'm taking that incredibly serious. But at the same time, it's easy to have those conversations with the tenants when they come to me and say, "Well, I don't think that I'm going to be able to pay rent." Yeah, you are.
yeah. And you find emotion goes up and logic goes down, right? So if you don't have that emotion, then the logic is going to rule all the time.
That's right.
So, no.
Nothing's actually changed except that most people don't cold call anymore. Well, the do not call list has affected the cold calling, of course, and we have to be registered and you have to double check the list before you make those calls. So that definitely has affected things a lot. But what we have found with our newer agents is very hard to get them to cold call. Technology has made them communicate in different forms of trying to prospect. We try to tell them all the time that business is very basic. You have to go back to basics in order to be successful. It's about building relationships. And so cold calling, getting in front of people, having face-to-face conversations will always win over however many email blasts they want to do.
It's true. Like, for every no that you get makes the yes even better.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. When we're choosing preferred vendors is what I like to call them. I like to personally meet with them. I like to understand how their service model works to see if that works within our system as well. We do ask our service providers to time and you don't have to be the cheapest to work with us. What you have to be is provide quality service, and you have to be able to provide it in a timely manner. So if we do call, we ask for priority above someone who might just be calling for a one-off, I guess. And we do check. So if we have a new service provider, if we were using your company, then we would go in and check afterwards, and we'd have a conversation to say whether or not this relationship could probably continue. And that's how we do it I base it with the owners. I say, but we do have a list. It's not based solely on price, but you can be reassured that they're going to be handling things in a professional manner. They treat our tenants well if they're going in and meeting up with them, and they're going to be able to do it very timely. Yeah, it's incredibly easy, actually, and the reason being is really because of my husband. My husband has been in the trades world for many, many years, so the number of connections that he's had, that he's been able to give to me, has been incredible. So I feel like getting very, very good service from some very, very high quality companies here in Saskatoon.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. That was a set of great questions that came out. I'd like to thank Carla, and a great opportunity for me to meet you as well.
Thank you very much.
And can we just give her a round of applause, please? Very inspirational again, taking the trip.